Hey, what is good, everybody, man? Continuing on with Nexus week, we have the Nexus 5, and we're going to do a quick video on how it holds up in 2018. Honestly, I think the Nexus 5 was definitely one of the most notable phones in my eyes during my lifetime, I would say, of like the phoneage. And obviously, there's been other phones that have probably meant more, but the Nexus 5 is definitely up there in my top, I would say top 20 of the most notable phones. Now, the body honestly still looks awesome in my eyes. It's minimal, even though it's almost 5 years old. It really doesn't look that old, to be honest. And I have to equate that to it looking super minimal. And I love how around the camera they have that circular little thing that looks so sweet. And on the front we have a full HD 5-inch screen, and at the time it was pretty good, and even now it's not too bad. In fact, it's not bad at all. I think it looks pretty good. And turning it on, we have the latest version of Android, which was Android 6.0 Marshmallow, and it's not a bad ending place, but then again, it is a Nexus, so there's a pretty big development community behind it, so you can easily root it, ROM it, do whatever you want with it. Even the subreddit for the Nexus 5 is still pretty popping now, so you could just go on there and vent your problems or stuff like that. And what surprised me is I read about this a long time ago. Even some people, they literally tore apart the Nexus 5 and put an LG G2 battery inside of it, which was much bigger than the Nexus 5s, and they actually got it working, so that's super wild, and I'm actually pretty proud of that modder, whoever did that. Now, overall performance, it has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 chip. I don't even know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll be honest. It has a quad-core processor, 2 gigs of RAM, and it doesn't seem that bad, but it has an Adreno 330 processor, which is kind of a little bit old now. It does kind of hiccup on a few things, like, I said this about the 5X as well, and this has the same exact problem. Multitasking between, several apps kind of it's definitely not as strong a suit when it comes to multitasking. It closes too many apps, and even load time sometimes can become a little bit longer than, what I'm used to. I would rate the overall performance probably like a 6 out of 10, 5.5 out of 10 in today's standards, and even gaming is lackluster now. But you have to remember that this phone, when it came out, it wasn't supposed to be like the greatest and latest of every single thing. It wasn't like what Samsung was doing at the time. It was just a budget-friendly phone that had pretty good specs for the price, and that's why the Nexus line was so appealing to me and so many people. And now switching all over the place, the camera on the back is 8 megapixels. It's pretty bad. At this time, Nexuses were known as, having really bad cameras. That all changed when the Fire Nation attack. No, I'm just kidding. That all changed when the Nexus XP came out. But the 1.3 megapixel camera on the front is also pretty bad as well. I would not be getting these phones for the cameras. As long as you're outside taking photos, you probably won't notice, but I just would stay away from the camera on this phone as much as possible. Now, what's the camera without battery life? It has a 2300 milliamp battery. It's pretty bad as well. You would definitely need to charge it by the end of the day, and obviously if it's 2300 back in whenever 2013, it had to have degraded some amount, so it's not the full 2300 anymore. It does have wireless charging though, so you can just slap it or throw it on a wireless charger and you're good to go. And another thing, if you want to do that LG G2 battery replacement thing, you can always do that. Now, some important things to note: this is not all just fun and dandy. This is some serious stuff that we're dealing with. People are having tons of problems. Okay, the phone was made by LG, and as we all know, LG has this weird problem within their company. I'm not sure why, but some people are having boot loop problems. I personally didn't have these problems, but some people are, and it'd be stupid for me not to mention it. Some people are also having some random battery shutoffs. So this actually did happen on one of my units. I had about 3 Nexus 5s in my lifetime. 2 of them had this problem where the batteries would randomly just stop working out of the blue, and I even tried fixing one, and at the time I got a brand new battery for it. I ordered on eBay. Maybe that was a bad mistake, but it literally didn't. I replaced it and it still didn't work. One of them worked, but the other one didn't. It was, I guess the motherboard was fried or something at that point. But again, usually a replacement fixes it, but not always in my case. And this happened on one of my units as well. Some people were having random Wi-Fi problems. So one of my units, the Wi-Fi wouldn't even turn on, and I flashed different ROMs. I did so many other things to it, and it still never fully worked, which was really weird. And it started happening on the stock ROM before I rooted it or anything, so that was really weird. Not really sure why that happened. I don't even know if there's a fix for it, because I don't think it was a software problem. Those are just some things to keep in mind. I mean, with all that being said, I would not really recommend this phone anymore. If this phone was a little bit more stable, then yeah, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Don't get it twisted though, I don't hate this phone at all. I think it's definitely a staple in phone history as a whole, especially one of the most notable phones in the last decade, but there's much better options out there for a little bit more money. Pretty decent deal, it looks like. I've seen some on Swappa and eBay, but I just wouldn't recommend it anymore. And guys, that is pretty much it. I have a super special treat for you guys tomorrow. The Nexus device I have tomorrow is super dope. Have you guys seen the Snapchat update, dude? It's so stupid. Like, hit the subscribe button if you're new. That means so much. Comment down if you guys have any questions or answers or anything. If you want to see me review a device, like an older one or newer one, leave it down in the comment section. I'll try my best to get my hands on it. I usually take your guys' advice and go out and get the product you guys want to see. So check out the links in the description as well. Make sure you always do that. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.